welcome to the video. We are going to see another unit of technical communication. So in the last video I have already talked about verbal, non-verbal and everything, basic what is type of communication. Now we are going to see in depth in this unit. So basically if we see about verbal communication, it is words in which you're using words, that is verbal. So there are, first of all, let's just look at what is type of communication. So we have verbal, non-verbal, in which we are using words is called verbal, in which we are not using word, we are using your body language or your gesture is called verbal. Non-verbal, and this is when you're writing, it's not written, and when you're seeing the objects and seeing and communicating, that is visual communication. Okay, so that is there are two types of communication in verbal, that is oral and written. And oral we can just consider them as speaking, meetings, calls, interview and presentation. And written communication, it can be emails, report, messages. And what are the features of them? They are very fast, they actually save your time, it gives them it like clear. If your words are chosen correctly, it gives you a like immediate feedback, because in the oral form, because you're communicating in oral. And if we talk about nonverbal, so we have words without communication, in which you can include facial expression, eye contact, body posture, gesture, touch, space, distance, appearance. So if you just take, if you see this image, so I have talked about, posture, right? So slouching, there is an example we have given, slouching. So if you don't know the meaning of slouching, so I'll explain it. So appearance, posture does matter, because when you are communicating with someone, your posture is bad. So that means you are not, it won't show the interest beside your communication. So if you see this person sitting straight, like its back is straight, it's showing interest. But if you see, look at this person is not sitting in the right position. His back is not straight, it shows the lazy position. So slouching is a position, I mean, it shows a lazy posture of your body. When you're like, if someone is standing and a adult in front of you is standing and you're just lying down and replying, that is a really bad posture. It shows disrespect to that person. So posture does matter. It comes under the category of non-verbal communication. Appearance, if you see this both mean couple, एक सेकेंड इसको रेस कर लो। अगर आप इन कपल को देखो तो ये कपल जो है, non-verbal communication obviously, but if you see their posture, they both look interested in each other, because their posture is nice. If you talk about their appearance, they both look clean and tidy, so that's why they are able to enjoy each other's company. And if you talk about untidy person, if a person just untidy person just come in front of you, you won't even talk to that person, because you will feel like hygiene is not there, right? And let's talk about head movement. So we can take the example of nodding. एंड इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट हैंड मूवमेंट, तो हैंड मूवमेंट्स के अंदर अगर नॉडिंग का मतलब बता देती हूँ पहले मैं। नॉडिंग मीन्स होता है सर हिलाना, लाइक द इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट अ टीचर एंड अ स्टूडेंट, so whatever teacher explains, so teacher like students sometimes don't express by words, they just nod their head, the teachers just understand what they are trying to say. Hand movements, it means like when you are very far and you see a person or your friend, you just wave your hand. Wave means हाथ हिलाना, दूर से अगर आपने हाथ हिलाया, like oh this is my friend, hi, like that. Okay, eye movement, so eye movement is like blinking. This is also a communication, non-verbal communication language. You can say, if you see a person, I mean, you have done something mischievous, then you can just blink to someone else. And if you are pulling someone else leg, so you can just blink to the person whom you are doing with that, I mean the opponent one. Yeah. And if you talk about facial expression, frowns. Okay, frowns मतलब क्या होता है? Frowning, it is a really disapproval. It is a facial expression which shows disapproval, I mean, in which you just raise your eyes, just shows an anger or disapproval way, that is called frown. If you talk about eye body contact, shaking hands, this is a body contact. Even without shake, I mean, if you just shake hand with your buddy or your colleagues, whomsoever, that shows a gesture of yours, that is a body contact, you are shaking hands, that does not need a verbal communication, that all automatically indicates that you are saying hello to each other. Okay, so closeness, so you don't have to invading का मतलब मैं बताती हूँ. But invade, you don't have to invade someone's privacy. Basically, invading is like, if someone is have their if someone is there in his personal zone and you're trying to just peek inside what is happening, that is called invading. You don't have to invade. मतलब invade मतलब होता है, you can just, you're keeping eye on someone personal space, you're not letting them get like live freely. If you are changing clothes, if someone just enters, that is called invading. Okay, just as an example. Sound, sounds like you're laughing, that shows your, this is also non-verbal, because without speaking you're just showing that you're happy, like by laughing or crying or making faces, by frowning. Okay. And ways of talking, जैसे बिना बात किए भी हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें करते हैं, like when you're giving a pause, when you're stressing off on a word, like frowning, I'm stressing that word to pronounce it correctly. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So I hope you understand what is nonverbal communication. I have given example. Now let us just see classification of nonverbal communication. So first one is body posture, and we also call it kinesis. Okay, so and under kinesis, you can see we have facial expression, gesture. So basically, gesture is how you're greeting someone. If someone is in front of you, if you're greeting with happily, you're not, showing a frowning expression, or you can say you're not giving a, you know, negative vibes to that person. So that is a gesture. Gesture is important because how you're meeting the person describes your gesture. Okay, so we have eye contact, we have posture, we have body movement. Okay, now we have use space. We also call it, so it is also called as proxemics. So it is personal space. I mean, how, sorry, it is also called proxemics. It is also means personal space, social distance, and public distance. I mean, the distance which you are giving to that person while communicating. You don't have to, just don't have to go and talk very closer to that person. You need to keep certain distance so that you both can able to communicate, by having a safe distance. Also, we have para language, that is tone, pitch, and volume and speed of speaking. This is really important because this actually defines your communication. Tone, I mean, in which tone you are talking. There are some people who are really straightforward, there are people who just don't say, I mean, we can call them introvert, who are not able to express their self, or they lack in expressing their self. Also, we have people who are extrovert, who can just get mixed up easily, make friends easily, trust them easily. And there are ambivert, which have which are like, which actually state themselves according to the situation. So that is called ambivert. I mean, according to situation they become extrovert, according to situation they become introvert. So the tone is really important. I mean, in which tone you're talking about, that is, you're talking in a bad tone, you're talking in a polite or a soft tone, or you're talking in a moody tone. The tone defines your, this is called paralanguage. Pitch, I mean, at which pitch your pitch is really high, I mean, you're screaming, and that person might get irritated. Your pitch is really slow, I mean, your pitch is so slow that the person cannot just hear. That pitch is in medium that the person is able to hear. So yeah, you should not talk in a high pitch unless and until you get anger. And but basically you should not do get anger. Yeah, getting anger, you showing anger is not a good thing, because it is a negative energy from your body, which you should not get out from. You should just trap it inside rather than blowing out at someone, because it's a really bad thing. You will regret later. Okay, so volume, how much is your volume? You're speaking really low, very high. Okay, speed of speaking. Look, I will really recommend everybody to speak really slow, because what happened, is okay. Speed actually matters, I'll tell you. Speak slow means that doesn't mean that you have to speak like really slowly, like you are saying, taking long pauses while saying sentence. You should have a medium speech, mean speed. I mean, when whatever you're thinking, you're able to express them, because at this time you're getting time to think. Also, you can, also in your mind there's a thought processing happening, also you are able to deliver at the same time. So basically your thought process and your match of speaking just sign together. That's why medium speech is a really good, because you don't, get fumble, you don't hesitate, you don't feel discomfort while speaking. And also if we talk about speaking at like literally very fast is not good, because the person who is the receiver would not be able to understand what you're trying to say. Like the speed which I am talking to you is a medium speed, in which you are able to understand even my hot thought process, and my, you can say, my speed of, delivering the message is like matching with it. Okay. And like talking at high speed is really not good, because it also disturbs your thought process. Also, whatever message you're delivering through your mouth, they are not aligned properly. So I would actually recommend people to talk in a medium speed, so that you both, like your tone and also your thought process are aligned together, and you don't fumble. Yeah. So we'll talk about haptics. So haptic is touch, hand, like handshake, pat on the back. So haptic is like a touch when you're not expressing yourself. Okay. And you're just, by the moment of the hand, you're showing your, what do you call it, expression. By handshaking you don't have to say anything, it all automatically, justify that you are is saying hello to each other. पैट ऑन द बैक मीन्स हिंदी में अगर मैं बताऊँ तो इसका मतलब होता है कि पीठ थपथपाना, इसको बोलते हैं पैट ऑन द बैक. ओके. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि यू आर प्रेजिंग समवन एफर्ट, यू आर ट्राइंग टू से दैट यू आर अप्रिशिएटिंग देम, यू आर सेइंग that you are really happy by the effort. Appearance. So if we talk about appearance, there is dress, grooming, and professional look. So dress is really important, because dress actually define your personality. Also how well you're dressed also, gives you confidence. If you have actually dressed very well in a comfort clothes, you actually feel really good, and even people appreciate you. If you talk about grooming, so yeah, if we talk about it, is like what is refers in both. I mean, how you're groomed. Basically your parents are the one who grooms you. अगर मैं इसका हिंदी में मतलब बताना चाहूँ तो परवरिश जिसको कहते हैं, वही अपब्रिंगिंग होता है. वो तो परवरिश तो अपब्रिंगिंग होता है, बट ग्रूमिंग इज़ लाइक हाउ यू structure yourself. Actually structure is the correct one for grooming. Basically how do you, it is meant for both professional and personal. That is personal representation. I mean, how that person is presenting himself in professional, and as well as in your, personal life. And the conduct which you have, between the receiver and the messenger, supports effective and, confident and respectful interaction. This is called grooming. Okay. So I hope ये समझ में आया होगा. So I will actually repeat it again. Grooming is basically how structured you are given through your words. I mean, whether it is professional or it is personal, how well you are able to conduct with your receiver, and how well an effective communication with confidence and with respect you are interacting with that person. Okay. So if we talk about personal look, so professional look, sorry, not personal. So professional look is really important, because if you are standing out as a professional engineer, or you can say a professional of anything, so that matters a lot, because your professional look talks about everything. Okay. So it should be clean, well fitting, and appropriate clothing for your workspace, also combined with good grooming and confident body language. ठीक है. तो इसके अंदर आपको बहुत अच्छे से देखो, वर्क प्लेस भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. इफ़ यू आर लाइक गोइंग टू हॉस्पिटल, ओके, एंड इफ़ यू वेयर अ cloth of a patient, actually that will make no sense. So workplace, you need to keep in mind that you're in a workplace, that you need to dress according to that. If you're going to a party, okay, if I actually wear my night dress, will that make sense? Not at all, because you are at a party, you need to be very fancy, you need to be very fascinating, that people just look at you, right? You need to be dressed like a long frock, or you can say a gown. I mean, I'm talking about girls. If you talk about boys, they need to be, in suit, you can say three piece or one piece, whatever they want to, but at least they should be in a clothes that looks professional. Okay, that is, that match the vibes of the wedding. Also, if the party, of also, if you like talk about your, so if you are going to your office, so obviously you cannot go in your pants, I mean your, half pants or like that. Obviously you will wear, three-piece suit in which you have tie, you have coat, and you have the pant. So yeah, if you talk about girls, the girls can be dressed like nicely. I mean, they can wear a decent dress. They can wear kurti, pants, and a stole they can carry. Or if they want to wear, short dresses, they can go for anything. I mean, short dress. So yeah, actually, I just want to explain that. I mean, according to the workplace, you need to dress. You cannot, wear outdated, or not outdated. Basically, you can not wear out. You don't have to become out and out in that place. Okay, and you need to be good with your grooming, because just now I told you, and with body confidence and body language is important, because that overall design your structure. Okay, so now let us just see. So if we see chronomics, use of time, punctuality, time taking to respond. Okay, yeah, this is really important. So chronomics is like how you are punctual to your, communication. If I am just, if like, let us just take an example in a meeting. Okay, so we are in a meeting and I am sitting in front of my client. Okay, so I'm just that client is communicating with me, and whatever the client is saying, if I just respond really late, if I just don't respond, so that shows, I mean, how chronic about I am about my communication. So that means, because I'm not, on time responding that person. Even if you just not take an example of, meetings, if you just take an example of emails, how, chronic you are being to your meals, how punctual you are being to your work, this actually defines you. Because if someone has sent mail and it has been, past, it has just passed 10 days, and after that you're replying, actually that loses interest, because that client might go somewhere else. That client might approaches to those person who are actually punctual and chronic about their time, right? So punctuality does matter in everything. Just like you go to college or you go to school on time, the exact time is mentioned on the school door gate. If you just come, if you're late, then you're not allowed to enter the school. And if you're early, I mean, you don't have to be that early, and you don't have to be, that late. You just have to be beyond time. That is called chronic. Okay, chronomics. That is called chronomics. Okay, so barriers of communication, earlier also have discussed about it. So barriers means रुकावटें क्या आती हैं communication में बात करने में. So it can, there are many types of communication barriers, so we are going to see them. Barriers are the things that block or disturb communication. Exactly, that actually, disturb you or blocks your way of communication. Okay, there are, can be physical barrier like noise, distance, poor network, and disturbance. Okay, there is psychological barrier, that is stress, anger, attitude, fear, low confidence. This is also a barrier. If someone is stressed, that is a barrier communication, because you won't be able to understand what this person want to say. If that person is in anger, that is also a barrier communication. This is psychology barrier communication. Attitude also is a barrier communication, because someone just showing attitude to you, that doesn't, it doesn't, define that person, because it is not clear, because that person is just being showing the attitude and they think that they are being superior by that. It's a barrier, because you won't be having a good communication with that attitude. Okay, fear, if someone is having a fear, so that won't, person will not be, that person will be busy in handling this. Person is afraid, so that person will also have a barrier communication. Low confidence also have barrier communication, because that person is not confident about it. So how that person will be clear about it? I mean, I hope you are understanding. Language barrier, different difficult words. If you like talk about, there are words like I talk about slouching and frowning. If I have talk about like what this word was, like chronomics. And if we talk about haptics, so these were the new vocab for like for a person like who has heard it for the very first time. But for those who have heard it, so for them it won't be a difficult word. But yeah, so there are difficult words which actually causes a language barrier. So I might have said some words which was not understandable by you all, so that cause can cause a language barrier, and you might go from my channel because you might think that I did not understand. But I have a solution for that. If you want, actually I did not understand the meaning of a word, you can just comment down below, I will actually let you know. Or you can also Google it. Yeah, because what I am trying to give you the environment in which I'm talking English, so that you also start answer in English. Also, if you see, if I talk in English, you are listening, so listening also improves your English communication skills. Okay, so different accent. Okay, yeah, there are different accent which actually cause a language barrier, because some people have their own accent, some people have their different accent, due to which there can be a communication barrier. Because some people call it color, some people call it color. So this different, like it's different, right? So some people might not understand, some people can understand. So it's, yeah, poor vocabulary also as a language barrier. Because look, if someone said something, okay, and you did not understand that word, particular vocabulary you can say, so that can actually cause a language barrier. There are culture barrier with different customs. Like if someone is of a different culture, I mean, they have their own rituals, they have their own beliefs, they have different cultures, so that can be a cultural barrier because you don't fit for that culture. Okay, so yeah, but by communicating you can absolutely remove this barriers. Different communication styles, yeah, just now I told you. Like if someone is Marathi, I mean, that person, if someone is from Maharashtra, that person will speak Marathi. If someone is from Kolkata, then person will speak Bengali. So it depends on communication style also, and their different beliefs. Yeah. सो यहाँ पर मैं कस्टम्स के बारे में थोड़ा सा डिस्क्राइब कर देती हूँ कि कस्टम्स जो होते हैं वो ट्रेडिशनल प्रैक्टिसेस, मतलब ये जो कोई लाइक प्रेयर करता होगा, कोई पूजा करता होगा, कोई चर्च पे जाता होगा, ठीक है, तो रिचुअल्स जो हैं वो उनके जो बिलीव्स हैं वो उसको बोल रहे हैं, ठीक है, उसको डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है। तो सबके अलग अलग होते हैं सब। तो ये भी एक लैंग्वेज बैरियर हो सकता है, समझो कि कोई मतलब नमाज पढ़ता है तो कोई पूजा करता है, तो हाँ ये थोड़ा सा बैरियर हो सकता है, बट इट्स ओके, इट कैन बी हैंडल, बिकॉज बिलीव सबका एक ही है ना, कि हमें अपने गॉड को वर्शिप करना है, ठीक है। तो लेट्स जस्ट टॉक अबाउट ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल बैरियर, ठीक है। इसके अंदर स्ट्रिक्ट हायरार्की, लैक ऑफ क्लैरिटी एंड टू मैनी रूल्स। सो या ये थोड़ा सा है, मैं इसको एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ। सो ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल बैरियर के अंदर जैसे लैक ऑफ क्लैरिटी, इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट, इफ़ यू नॉट, समवन इज़ नॉट क्लियर अबाउट इट, सो if you don't have clarity, how that will that person understand it? And too many rules it has. And if you talk about stick hierarchy, तो मैं थोड़ा सा इसको हिंदी में समझाना चाहूँगी। स्टिक हायरार्की का मतलब है कि यहाँ पर एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में, इट इज़ एन ऑर्गेनाइज वे, इसी मतलब चेन को फॉलो किया जाएगा, इसी कमांड्स को फॉलो किया जाएगा, एंड देन कम्युनिकेट किया जाएगा। दैट इज़ यूनिक स्ट्रिक्ट हायरार्की। जिसके अंदर आपको मतलब बहुत सारे फ्लोज, मतलब फ्लोस लाइक एक चार्ट बना दिया है, तो इसी चार्ट को फॉलो करके ऐसा लाइक ऑर्गेनाइज वे में आपको लाइक कम्युनिकेट करना है, ऐसा तो इसको बोलते हैं, ठीक है। बट फॉलोज आर रिजिड, आई मीन ये बहुत रिजिड होता है, कड़क एंड वर्टिकल चेन ऑफ कमांड, ठीक है। सो या एंड सेमेनाटिक, सेमेनाटिक बैरियर जो होता है, मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ वर्ड, डिफरेंट इंटरप्रिटेशन। इंटरप्रिटेशन का मतलब मैं बता देती हूँ कि कोई भी चीज़ को गलत समझ लेना, इंटरप्रिटेट कर लेना, यहाँ से निकला ये। मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ वर्ड मतलब होता है कि किसी चीज़ का गलत मतलब निकालना। देखो, एट टाइम्स व्हाट हैपन इज, वी रीड अ सेंटेंस एंड वी फाइंड अ वर्ड विच वी डोंट नो द मीनिंग ऑफ इट, वी जस्ट सी रीड द सेंटेंस एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द वर्ड, अकॉर्डिंग टू द सेंटेंस मीनिंग, वी जस्ट फाइंड द मीनिंग। बट समटाइम्स क्या होता है, हमें जो कोई कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं पता होता कि हम ये वर्ड का क्या मतलब है, तो हम कुछ गलत समझ लेते हैं, तो दैट इज़ कॉल्ड सेमेनेटिक बैरियर। और इसको मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग के अंदर कैटेगरी में डिफाइन किया जाता है, और डिफरेंट इंटरप्रिटेशन, मतलब कोई कुछ समझ लेता है, कोई कुछ समझ लेता है, ठीक है। अब किसी का बोलने का मतलब कुछ और था, तो हम बोल कुछ और दिया, ऐसा मतलब समझ गए आप लोग। कम्युनिकेशन ग्लोबली, ग्लोबल कम्युनिकेशन मीन्स कम्युनिकेशन विद पीपल फ्रॉम डिफरेंट कंट्रीज एंड कल्चर्स ठीक है, ये कम्युनिकेशन हो गया जिसमें हम कंपनी लोगों से बात करते हैं। ठीक है, की स्किल्स नीडेड क्लियर लैंग्वेज सिंपल इंग्लिश नो स्लैंग। ठीक है, तो अगर हमें इंग्लिश में बात करना है, मतलब किसी कंट्री वाले बाहर वाले से बात करना है, तो आप कैसे बात करेंगे? तो देखो, आपके लिए क्लियर लैंग्वेज होना चाहिए, आपको सिंपल इंग्लिश आनी चाहिए, स्लैंग मीन्स होना चाहिए, लैंग होता है गाली देना, ठीक है, कोई स्लैंग नहीं होना चाहिए। And culture awareness means you need to respect difference, because difference respect नहीं करते ना, इसी वजह से conflict create होती है। If someone have different cultures, if someone have different opinions, if someone has different customs, that doesn't mean that they are wrong and you are right. It means that you need to just accept difference, you know, just respect those difference, कम्युनिकेशन अच्छा बनता है, तो इससे कल्चर जो बैरियर है वो हटता है। ठीक है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग टाइम जोन, बी कंसिडरेट इन स्केड्यूलिंग। लाइक अगर मैं अपनी बात करूँ, सो आई लिव इन सऊदी अरेबिया। सो अगर मैं यहाँ पर बात करूँ, इंडिया में अगर मैं बात करूँ, सो देर इज़ अ टाइम गैप। ओके, सो अब सपोज़ मतलब मैं अगर कोई स्टूडेंट है मेरा, ठीक है, एंड वो इंडिया से है और मैं यहाँ पर उसको मैं पढ़ाती हूँ। ठीक है, तो अब मैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग के टाइम पे मुझे सेट करना पड़ेगा ना। इफ़ यू आर टॉकिंग टू समवन ग्लोबली, यू नीड टू बी पंक्चुअल अबाउट टाइम। ठीक है, बिकॉज उसके वहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, आप उसका टाइम में आपको मैनेज करके चलना पड़ेगा। सो यू नीड टू कंसिडर योर स्केड्यूलिंग एंड प्रोफेशनल टोन ऑल्सो, स्पेशली इन मेल्स एंड ईमेल्स यू नीड टू बी वेरी फॉर्मल। ठीक है, आप फॉर्मल लैंग्वेज यूज़ करना, यू कैन नॉट बी इनफॉर्मल अबाउट योर लैंग्वेजेस। ऑल्सो यूज़ ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, यू कैन यूज़ Zoom मीटिंग, email and WhatsApp. Okay, so what challenges you will have? Accent difference, yeah, obviously that person, if I am from here, obviously I belong to India, बट सिंस आई लिव ईयर, सो यहाँ पर एक्सेंट डिफरेंस हो सकता है। इफ़ समवन हैज़ अ ब्रिटिश एक्सेंट और अमेरिकन एक्सेंट, सो एक्सेंट डिफरेंस हो सकता है। चैलेंजेस ये आ सकते हैं, कल्चर मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग हो सकती है, डिफरेंट वर्किंग स्टाइल, डिले इन कम्युनिकेशन बिकॉज ऑफ नेटवर्क, बिकॉज द मीडियम यू हैव चूजन। ओके, सो yeah, culture and communication, if we talk about, culture is equal to shared belief, values, behavior of a group, एंड कल्चर स्ट्रांगली अफेक्ट कम्युनिकेशन। एक्चुअली देखो, कल्चर क्या होता है, ये बिलीव शेयर करता है, एक्चुअली आपके वैल्यूज़ जो आप मतलब बिहेवियर ऑफ अ ग्रुप। ठीक है, तो ये सब कल्चर होता है जो कि मैंने आपको बताया, यू वट एवर प्रैक्टिस यू हैव। And if we take an example, some cultures prefer direct communication, USA, German. ठीक है, some prefers indirect communication, Japan, India. Eye contact may be normal in some cultures, but rude in others. Handshake versus namaste versus bowing down. So yeah, I hope ये समझ में आ रहा होगा, नहीं आया मैं बताती हूँ। देखो, कल्चर बहुत अफेक्ट करता है कम्युनिकेशन को। ठीक है, तो सम कल्चर्स जो होते हैं वो डायरेक्ट कम्युनिकेट करना पसंद करते हैं, सम जो होते हैं वो इनडायरेक्ट कम्युनिकेट करना पसंद करते हैं। ठीक है, जैसे मैं एग्जांपल दिया है इंडिया जापान का। आई कॉन्टैक्ट जैसे मे बी नॉर्मल इन सम कल्चर्स बट रूड इन अदर्स, मतलब इफ़ यू डूइंग एन आई कॉन्टैक्ट विद समवन, तो किसी के कल्चर में जो है वो अच्छा माना जा सकता है, किसी कल्चर में नहीं भी। आई डोंट नो इसके बारे में ज़्यादा। हैंडशेक, जैसे हैंडशेक जो है एक नॉर्मल इंग्लिश में अगर आप देखो तो इट्स हेलो, नमस्ते जो है इंडिया में होता है, मीन्स इट इज़ ऑल्सो सेइंग गिविंग अ रिस्पेक्ट टू समवन। बोइंग डाउन मीन्स नीचे झुक के किसी को सलाम करना, या फिर यू कैन से नमस्ते ही होता है बेसिकली भी। सो ऑल दिस थिंग्स मीन द सेम थिंग, बस ऑल वी आर गिविंग रिस्पेक्ट टू एवरीबडी। ठीक है, वो वाई अंडरस्टैंडिंग कल्चर इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज यू नीड टू अवॉइड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, इम्प्रूव टीम वर्क, you need to actually improve your teamwork, because if you are working in MNCs or you're working with international people, you actually need to improve your teamwork, build respect. Actually, you need to actually have respect for each other culture and each other, time difference also. It helps your global work स्पेसेस। वर्क स्पेसेस मतलब होता है यहाँ पर आपको क्लियर कम्युनिकेशन, कल्चरों की हेल्प करेगा आपको कम्युनिकेशन में, क्लैरिटी में, कल्चर में, अवेयरनेस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में। तो ये चीज़ें ना आपका बहुत हेल्प करती हैं ग्लोबल वर्क स्पेस में, बिकॉज ग्लोबल वर्क स्पेस क्या होता है, बोलिए आप कैसे काम करते हो। ठीक है, तो ये सारी चीज़ें इम्प्रूव होती हैं अगर आप जैसे इन चीज़ों को ध्यान रखते हो, अगर आप सारी चीज़ों को समझते हो, लैंग्वेज, टेक्नोलॉजी, इफ़ यू अंडरस्टैंड थिंग्स। ठीक है।